Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Cioffi. It's weather in 5 days, 5 minutes. A little bit behind today, but let's get you caught up on what's going on. And of course, the focus of attention here in the east is this quick shot of cold air. We've got temperatures in the low to mid 30s today. That is going to be pulling out, and we're going to be starting a well advertised warm up that will probably take us into the 60s in many locations before this is all said and done on Saturday. And some of that warm air is going to linger into Sunday. But all of that is being driven by a rather important storm system that is developing, that's going to be developing and impacting the Midwest. We have a large area of flash flood watches up. We also have winter storm watches up for parts of northern Illinois and southeastern Michigan, winter weather advisories further north. And I think that there's a risk here for a serious ice storm to occur over many of the areas surrounding the Great Lakes. We also have watches up in the Pacific Northwest with various advisories, but that's something for down the road. In the meantime, this is going to be our focus. The other focus out of this is going to be severe weather. And you don't see this very often in January. The Storm Prediction Center actually, this is the day 2 forecast, so this is for tomorrow into Saturday morning, showing a moderate risk of severe weather in northeastern Texas and northwest Louisiana, and a very large area of slight risk covering much of the eastern half of Texas on up into eastern Oklahoma, northern Arkansas, southern Missouri, and extending into parts of southeast Louisiana and western Mississippi. So this is a storm system that's going to be a bit of a powerhouse, and it is going to be driving the potential for snow and ice across the Great Lakes and the big warm-up that we're talking about here for the northern Mid-Atlantic on up into New England. We are at least having a decent day today with a fair amount of sunshine. There are some high clouds to our west this afternoon, and you can already see the moisture beginning to gather from out of the subtropics in the Pacific, running up into Mexico and Texas, and then shooting up toward the Great Lakes. And there's going to be cold air pinned up in the Great Lakes states. And that's going to extend actually into northern New York and northern New England. So at some point, there may be the threat for some snow and ice in that area too. Precipitation-wise, in the east, of course, it's very quiet and dry. We're already beginning to see some precipitation moving up through Lake Michigan and on up into Wisconsin and northern Michigan. But this is the lead stuff that we're going to be dealing with. Further south, nothing going on in the southeast, nothing going on into Florida, but you're starting to see the first showers popping up as the atmosphere saturates across the western Gulf states. Right now, we've got a nice little high sitting right overhead. The wind has diminished considerably, and there's the developing low in eastern Iowa with the trailing cold front running down into West Texas. And then you have the warm front here with the very tropical air starting to come in with dew points rising up into the 60s, and some places the dew points are shooting up already into the mid and upper 60s. So this has definitely got some strong tropical forcing in it that is going to be impacting the weather for the weekend. So let's take a look at where we're going here with all of this. And we'll go with the GFS, and we'll put up the radar view on the model. And this is for next weekend, so we're way ahead of the game. So let's roll it back. And there's your high moving out. First surge of rain that runs up through Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, western Pennsylvania, western New York. Now here's the mess for tomorrow into tomorrow night. This is when you're going to start to see the main low develop and those showers and thunderstorms. You can see some ice and snow starting up in parts of northern Missouri and Iowa. And then it gradually starts to shift into the Great Lakes states. And of course, with all of this going on, here for us, we've got this high that is sitting offshore, and that's going to create a southwest flow. That's a very strong high off the East Coast. It's kind of like a Bermuda high, bringing up that warm air, and I think we're going to have a run for record temperatures before this is all said and done. Now, as far as precipitation is concerned, I don't think we really have too much to worry about here. This is Saturday evening, so we're going to see temperatures rise tomorrow into the upper 40s to mid 50s, and then it's going to be 60s in many areas here on Saturday. But I think the showers stay out till Saturday night into Sunday morning, and there might even be an isolated thunderstorm here as a cold front moves through. Some leftover warm air early in the day to be followed by some colder, drier air for the start of next week. The other big story, I guess, in the weather world in the longer range is that we are continuing to see increasing signs on the weather models of the pattern changing beginning later next week and beyond. Now, what it ultimately changes to remains to be seen, but what we're seeing here in terms of Friday, Saturday into Sunday is the peak of the strength of the warm pattern in the eastern part of the United States. And I think we're going to see a gradual transition to at least something more seasonal, and perhaps also energizing a little bit more in the way of winter weather as we move toward the latter part of the month of January. So we'll have a full update on this tonight on my YouTube channel on the Joe and Joe Weather Show. Joe Rayo will be joining me as he has just about every night lately, and probably will continue to join me on a regular basis. And of course, we'll be having our website posts and updating the app and updating Patreon for the subscription members on my weather platform on Patreon. You'll get your updates shortly. Have a great afternoon. Enjoy the nice weather, even though it's cold, and we will see you later.